All right, let's get to our final one. It's the most interesting conference that we'll talk about today, and that's the Colonial. This will be played. It used to be played in Charleston. Charleston had a little bit of an advantage, but now it's in Washington, D.C. So 9 teams make it. Everyone has a bye except for William & Mary and Northeastern, who will play in the first round on Saturday. And the 1 seed is Towson. Towson's plus 100 to win this. And not many people maybe know about Towson. Incredibly, I think they're up to like 65 on KenPom. Last year, they finished 298. What an incredible turnaround. Experienced team that added a couple key transfers. They are excellent. I mean, a team ranked 65 KenPom in the Colonial since like VCU left in 2011. I think there's only been one team that's been that high, and I think that's UNC Wilmington maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So this could be arguably the best team in the Colonial over the past 10 years. And they play slow, but as with any Towson team under Scary, they're going to crash the offensive glass. Their offense is excellent. They really just have no weaknesses, and they can put runs on people. Look at some of their metrics on runs, like 10-0 runs and spurt ability. They could just bury teams out of nowhere. Really balanced team, no real weaknesses. One of the interesting things about Towson is that they'll play the winner of William & Mary Northeastern. Northeastern just beat William & Mary by like 40. If Northeastern wins that game, Northeastern had a disastrous year. Like some of them to win the conference. For whatever reason, they gave Towson trouble this year. They beat Towson once, and then Towson beat them, close. So just for whatever reason, it might not be a great matchup for Towson. That's who they would have to get by. Then they'd have to play the winner of Drexel and Delaware. In the bottom half, you have UNC Wilmington will take on Elon, and then you'll have Hofstra taking on Charleston. Hofstra is plus 350. Drexel's 10-1. Charleston's 10-1. UNCW 12-1. Delaware 12-1. Northeastern's 50-1. Who cares about William & Mary? So Hofstra's. Some of these teams play really fast. Like Hofstra wants to play fast. Charleston plays fastest pace. Country Towson wants to play a little slower. Hofstra has incredible guard play, no size, but they really struggled with Towson in both times that they played. I don't think it's a great matchup for them. If I'm going to take a shot, and I might in this conference, I might look at Charleston. It's a team that I think underachieved a bit, but they have a style that's like conducive to making a run of the tournament. Helter Skelter, they play really fast. They got Meeks back. They got healthy towards the end of the year. I think they might be a little deflated in the advanced metrics, maybe creating some value on Charleston. I think they have some high upside. Deep bench. You got to win. In order to win this, they'll have to win Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So to win 3 games in 3 days, whoever's playing, unless you're Northeastern William & Mary, then you got to win 4 games in 4 days. So, it's not the most experienced team, but there's something that's screaming to me about Charleston. I don't know. What do you see here?
It's interesting. We've talked about UNC Wilmington a few times on the podcast, and basically how crazy their season has been, how many second half comebacks they've had. It's been insane. And guess what?
They're undefeated in overtime.
Yeah. They're now up to number 1. They've overtaken Providence, number 1 on KenPom and luck. But at the same time, they're sitting there at 12-1 with a favorable first round matchup against Elon. They're kind of screaming to me, especially at that price. And the market always dictates, where to go on this one. And I think what they're saying is like, hey, this team's incredibly lucky. They're not going to win it. And, they're basically trying to force people away from it, which is interesting. They are the number 1 defense on shot quality in terms of points per possession allowed in both the half court and transition. They're second in turnover percentage. They're first in open 3-point rate allowed. It's a good defense, but the offense is drastically overachieved. And that's why they're sitting as the number 1 lucky team in KenPom. But at the same time, with the price of 12-1, playing against Hofstra or Charleston, both those teams will have a pretty significant edge over UNC Wilmington. But again, looking at that price of 12-1, Delaware is also pretty interesting at 12-1. First in shot quality, points per possession on offense, second on defense, first in rim and 3-point rate on offense, and second on defense. They obviously have a tricky matchup against Drexel. Then they'll play Towson, who beat them pretty badly in the first meeting. And then in the second meeting, they had like a weird, they had to pause the game in the middle and then restart it essentially like a month later. And Towson ran away with it in the second half. But I think you can kind of throw that game out the window. So Delaware's a little interesting to me also at 12-1. So UNC Wilmington, Delaware is where I'm going at 12-1, given the prices. But I mean, Towson is clearly the best team in this conference, but there's no way I'm laying even money with them.
Yeah, Dylan Painter back for Delaware is big. He played 24 minutes. Although I don't know, that's weird because I don't know the actual minutes that he played. It tells me it was a restarted game.
Yeah.
But he's been back the last 3 games. If you get him, more at full strength, he's capable of going for, 20 and 20 and 10 from the center position. So I think him being back is really important for Delaware. He missed a bunch of games in time throughout the year, but they're scary when fully healthy. So I don't mind that. I mean, I think that I think Towson's probably going to end up getting there and getting it done, but it's a fun conference to throw a little flyer on someone in the bottom half, I think. So, dig around, see what you like from one team, a player, and I think it's a good conference maybe to just throw a couple pesos on a team in the bottom half. Unlike the other two that we talked about, I don't think it's really worth throwing any long shot bets in.